There we are. Okay. Should all be working. There we are, yeah. Awesome. Alright. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's Pee-wee from Definitive Esports. We're going to be doing Chobo to Gosu, and this is the very first episode, and I'm very, very excited. This is going to be quite a straight-up, simple episode, because it is the first one. We obviously have to cover the basics, the understanding of the game, the mechanics, everything like that, especially units and the races. So here we are. Okay, Starcraft 2 is a real-time strategy game. It's based on economy, so things like you have to manage your economy to get more units to attack your opponents, and because of that, it adds a lot of.
I don't think you're live.
Say again, sorry.
I don't think you're live. I don't know. Are you?
Should be.
No, it's true. Yeah, you're doing it well. Good. Keep going.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Good stuff. Alright, yeah, because it's economic based, it adds a lot of interesting mechanics to the game. Obviously, you have to make sure you mine enough or efficiently so you can keep up with your opponent within the game. At the same time, you can't be too greedy or lack, because if he has more stuff, he's going to straight up kill you. If you have too little or too much yourself, you'll straight up kill him. So it's a very good balance to it, and at the same time, resources are limited within the game, so you have to balance that out as well. You can't take them all, because see, now you're in a very long game and you run out of minerals on your side, and like you have nothing else to mine, whereas your opponent is still going. You'll run out of money much faster, so like you'll be a lot more cost inefficient in terms of that, and that would give him the advantage. But back to the game. So yeah, Starcraft 2 is a real-time strategy. You might know other games of this type of genre, like Command and Conquer, Civilization. There's a few different things. Now, what makes Starcraft 2 so different in my eyes is how mechanically different everything is. If you were to look at something like Command and Conquer, for example, like all the races are kind of the same. They all have the workers that come out and build a building, and within Starcraft 2, there's only really one race that's kind of like that, and that's the Terran. They're very conventional real-time strategy race. They build units. The units themselves construct the buildings. You see them wandering around. It's very cool. Then we can move on to the other race, which is a more futuristic race. They're the Protoss. They are alien psionic beings, as they're called, which is pretty much why I started playing with the Protoss back in Brood War. To be honest, I think they're a lot of fun. Their mechanics are slightly different. They use teleportation and advanced technology to build stuff, so they warp in by teleports. And then we can go into the Zerg race, and I'll show you all the different races and the mechanics of the game and what I'm exactly talking about. But if you were to look at the Zerg race, for example, they're very odd to describe, actually. They're a beast-like evolutionary tech and unit, and by that I mean, like, you start off with a simple unit and then you evolve that unit into something better. And things like the buildings are actually the harvesters. So the harvesters warps or evolves into a building, which is a crazy mechanic. I've never seen something like that in another RTS. So those are the races. What makes Starcraft 2 so hard, I believe, is the amount of different. It's not just the mechanics that you have to know, or the information, like how fast this unit moves, how much damage it does, how often it shoots, how whatever. There's all that you have to learn, and then there's things like you have to have good multitasking, you have to have good unit control, decision making. Then there's things like positional. When you're coming into battles, like you want good position over your enemy, because a good position can win you the fight very easily, even with less units. Then there's stuff like, obviously, you gotta make sure you're constantly building, your army's good, you're expanding, getting lots of minerals, you're scouting as well. That's one of the most important ones, and most people actually overlook, is scouting. That's probably what would win you the most games up to a decent point. If you know what's coming, you can do so much better against it. If you know an attack is about to hit your front, you can set up your units ready for a good position. You can have if you're a pro, you can have your force fields ready, etc., etc. So things like that are really demanding, and that's why this game has such a skill cap. Or this is why I believe it has such a good skill cap. So yeah, those are pretty much the main understandings of the game. Pretty much going to jump right in and show you what I'm all about. So let me just change my scene. So here we are. We're going to Starcraft 2 now. Sweet. I've got my overlay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so here we are. We have all the buildings. This is a unit tester. I've just gone into a custom map so I can show you every unit individually with every building, with all the upgrades, and just discuss certain things that you should know. And most importantly, like, I believe a lot of people will get StarCraft 2 and they'll just like jump into the practice games, or jump into AI, or jump into ladder, which isn't really what you want to do. You kind of want to get the basics and the understandings of the entire game, so you can, when you jump into game, you actually have a sight or a goal that you can move towards. And I believe that the first thing you should do, the second you get StarCraft, is go into a game, go into just a custom game, and press F12, or if you hit the button, like I have it locked, so I have to press it, and you can look at the help. This will actually show you every unit with all the buildings and the tech trees, and this is something that you need to know. You know, there's no getting past it. If you don't know this, you're not going to be able to play this game at a good level, or even a basic level, really, if you don't know what you're doing. So we're going to start off with the Terran units and their tech tree, because like I said, they're the most conventional real-time strategy race. So I'd rather start with them, because that way I can show you analogies between them and, say, a Command Conquer's race and stuff like that, and then we can move on to the Zerg, and I can blow your mind later with them. So here we have the Terran tech tree. So everything has, it's called your main building. For the Terran, it's your command center. For the Zerg, it's your hatchery. For the Protoss, it's your nexus. And this building produces harvesters. In most cases, it's a bit different with different races, but for the majority of this, we're going to say they just pretty much produce your harvesters, and that's where you take your money to when you mine it, and your gas. So that's the command center. Once you build the command center, you're allowed to build a depot and a refinery. Refinery goes on the gas. We'll show you that later. That's not really that important for now. The depot is your supply. What I mean by supply is, in the screen by here you have this number, and at the moment it's 0 out of 0 because I'm in a custom and it's not meant to have any units, so that's fine. But this unit here, the maximum you're allowed is 200, and what happens is, when you build a depot, it goes from 0, say it'll be 0 out of 0, I'll go from that to 0 out of 10. So you can build 10 units. Every unit has its own certain supply, like some of it cost 2, some cost 1, some cost 6. So it all varies on how many units you can have, but all you need to know is you can have a certain amount of supply. So we go from the depot to the barracks. Once you build the depot, you can build the barracks. That is this unit right by here. So this builds, your Marines, your Marauders, your Reapers, your Ghosts. Every building has tech labs, or, well, every Terran building will pretty much have a tech lab or a reactor, and these allow you to build different units immediately. So I just built him here. If I click, say, reactor, this pops up, and I can build slightly different units. This is, the map test is not going to show you these, the key points of this, because it's a map test that is designed to just let me press whatever I want and it'll still build it. But as you can see, I can't build the Marauder, the Reaper, and the Ghost, because this is a reactor. Reactor just allows you to build the standard tech ones very fast. So if I put it back down onto the tech lab, it takes forever. There we are. I can build them again. And you can swap these up. I can lift this factory and put it there and use that, etc., etc. Okay, back into F12. So once you've built the barracks, you can then build your factory and also your engineering bay. The engineering bay is defense, pretty much, and upgrades. It'll allow you to upgrade your Marines, stuff like that, and you can build turrets. But back to the factory. So if we go into the factory, which is this bad boy by here, we can build mechanical units or factory units, which are pretty much big things. So we have something called the Hellion, which I'm only showing you these briefly. I'll show you much more later. Tank and a Thor. So they come from there. Then, once you build the factory, you can build the Ghost Academy and a bunker. The Ghost Academy allows you to build ghosts, which are a specific type of unit, and they're very good. And then we have the bunker, which is a base defense, which is very good. You put units in it, and it just defends them pretty much. So next is the starport, and this is a very good one. This is air units, as it pretty much sounds like, and it builds quite a few different units. As you can see there, like I said, you are allowed to change the add-ons in these. You have a tech lab or a reactor if you want, and you can pick them up, you can swap them however you please. That's the Ghost Academy. So once you build the starport, you can build an armory and a fusion core, which are pretty much your tech. These allow you to build some of these units. Like this one is a 4, and you can't actually build a 4 immediately. You can have a factory with a tech lab, which is cool, but you won't be able to build a 4 until you have something like the armory. And this one's a battlecruiser. This one comes from the starport, and this comes from a tech lab on the starport. But you won't be able to build a battlecruiser until you have your fusion core. Back into the upgrades, the armory and the engineering bay, which are these two bay here. These are pretty much your upgrade buildings. These two upgrade your ground units, which is your marine. Upgrade your bio, which is everything that comes from the barracks. So it's your marines, your marauders, your ghosts, and your reapers. Then if we go into the armory, we have the mechanical upgrades, which once again is all these by here. These upgrade your Thor. With this, obviously, there's a ground and there's a ship. Ship is air, ground is obviously ground. When you look at all the upgrades, this applies to every race. Each upgrade benefits 10% per upgrade. So, for example, Marines do 7 damage. Oh, sorry, they do 6 damage at standard, but he's got +1, so it's gone up by 1 to 7. So if I add that again, it's going to go up again, so it's going to be 8. If I do that again, it's going to be 9. So you can see that.
But let me stop you there quickly. Turn off the overlay for the moment, because no one can see what units you're pointing to. It's blocking it, so just turn off the overlay for the rest of this and then continue from there.
No problem. Ah, sick. Okay, oh yes, I was showing you the Thor upgrades. Right, so Thor does a standard 33 damage, so when you upgrade it with an upgrade, it's going to upgrade by 3 damage. Actually, sorry, it does 30, but I've already upgraded it once. So if you go into again, upgrade vehicle weapons level 2, this will bump him up to 36 damage a shot. Alright, so that's all the tech buildings of the Terran, and now let's discuss the units more in depth. Right, so we'll start with the Marine. The Marine is tier 1, it's a very basic unit, it's the first thing you'll be able to build, and a lot of people like Marines, and a lot of people dislike them. They're pretty good. They shoot air and ground. They're pretty slow, they don't have much health, but they're very upgradable, and they have things like medevacs, which will heal them, and I'll show you what I mean. Just attack him. See? And then you can heal them. But yeah, back into the Marine. When you look at every single unit within the game, it's going to have all these little stats, and obviously you want to know these stats, but if you don't remember them, just learn the more important ones. Like, for example, a Marine does 6 damage by standard. It has a range of 5. I can't go up really quickly. So it's a range of 5. Its weapon speed is 0.86 seconds, so it shoots fairly quick, and it targets air and ground. So the Marine is a good unit. And also its armor is 1, and its move speed is 2.25. So if we look at the tech lab, we can get some more upgrades. We can get stim, and we can get something called combat shield, which is a lot of fun. So here's my Marine. If I do something like stim, it pretty much gives him a 50% speed increase, and he can shoot faster. Die.